All right. Hello. Thank you for coming by Tory Magoo 44. It is, what is today? March 30th. It's almost the end of March. And my name is Tory Chrisman. I'm known as Tory Magoo 44 on YouTube and TikTok. And my guest tonight is someone most people know as Haggisbasher Great Scott, I believe is how you pronounce it. But she's gonna explain it to us. But we're gonna call her Sandra tonight, and she said that's okay. So
Yeah, that's
welcome
okay.
everyone, and welcome Sandra Haggisbasher.
Hello.
I love that name. I think it's really fun.
Well, just being Scottish, I do love haggis. I eat haggis almost every weekend for breakfast. And somebody was saying, "Oh, haggis basher, it sounds so violent." Oh my gosh. No, it's not.
How, how
When a
is it?
haggis comes out and it's boiled and they're serving it to you, yeah, it's wrapped in a sheep's stomach and you really have to stab it and rip it apart
Really?
to open it up. Yeah. So that's why it's like bash. I didn't want to say haggis stabber. That sounds terrible. So that's it.
What is a haggis?
A haggis is it's a bunch of organ meats and oatmeal and spices, and it's stuffed into a sheep's stomach, and then it's steamed. I know that doesn't sound delicious to many
Sounds
people, but
awful. But but that's me. I'm kind of picky. But anyway, I love the name. And then how did you come up with Great Scott?
when you go into YouTube, when you put your name in, you have to like it. Like I put Haggis Basher in, and it gave me a number, and I was like, I'm not just a number, so I just put Great Scott because I'm Scottish and I'm great.
Ah, there you go. There you go. And you've been in Scotland all your life?
I lived in Scotland until my early teens, and then we immigrated to Canada.
Ah, that's
So
cool. So you're
so yeah,
you're whatever you call it, where you can go to both countries.
yep, yep.
What is that called?
Landed immigrant. So
No.
I have permanent residence status, so I still have a British passport, and I travel um, on a European passport because when I got my passport, it was before they did that separation from Europe. So I still have a European passport.
Kelly said Mark Bunker and I, wait a minute, this is funny. Mark Bunker and I thought she hated Paul Haggis, and the first time we saw the name, that's funny.
I remember that came up in Mark's chat when I was in Mark's chat. And that was stated in the chat. I remember that, Kelly.
That's funny.
No, nothing. It just so happens that I don't like Scientology, and I just happen to love haggis. So there you go.
Yeah, how did you get into the whole anti-Scientology thing?
Well, as a youngster, I was an Elvis fan,
Right.
and I loved Elvis. I love everything. I don't like the Beatles, but I like Elvis. Um, I was very much
Me,
into 50s music and stuff like that, right? And after he died, I Priscilla got involved in it, and I had seen them as a kid. I always watched documentaries and stuff like that because that's just weird that way. And I'd seen a bunch of stuff on British television. They've done a bunch of documentaries about Saint Hill and the
oh,
organizations down in London and stuff like that, right?
oh,
So I had seen stuff in regards to Scientology, and I knew it was a scam, pretty much. And then I found out that Elvis's ex-wife was getting into Scientology, and I was like, "Oh God, no, please." Don't sell Graceland and give the money to Scientology, please. I
I
hope
know,
there's some
please.
safety net. Like that was my
Yeah,
biggest thing. I was like, I wanted one day to be able to get to Graceland. Don't sell it and give your money to Scientology for God's sake. So that's
right.
kind of where it started, just because I was curious and I'd seen the documentaries and stuff. And then I saw John Sweeney. He did the interview on Panorama. He did the whole show on Scientology and stuff. And then I watched Louis Theroux, and he when he went to the States and he was traveling around, and he talked to, at that time, Marty Rathbun had left Scientology and they were stalking him big time. So there was a lot of that covered in
Yeah.
Louis Theroux's Scientology documentary. And you know what? Once I got onto YouTube, I just started searching for more and more, and I found Mark Bunker. I found
Yeah.
German News, and I found Mark Bunker, and they had the old stuff that really, and I was watching that. So I've been a fan of Mark Bunker for a very long time.
Good.
And then I found your stuff, and I'm sorry, my favorite thing of you, and I mentioned it in your chat, was when you and some people went down to Blue and you had a prize, and you're like, "Hi, we're looking for Kirstie Alley. We have her award for biggest Scientology shill. Would is she here? Can we give her the award for us, please?" So I was killing myself laughing, and that was a long time ago too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
And it was a garbage can. That was part of it.
So it's just I knew they were a bad thing, and the pub that I used to go to all the time. Oh, cheers! By the way, I got some bubbles in celebration of being on with Tory.
Oh,
Cheers! Mm.
cheers.
But the pub I used to go to on a regular basis was right across the street from the Scientology building in Toronto. So I
Oh,
would shout out the window, "You're a cult!" And then I would go by and I would just say stuff to them, right? So then I noticed that a couple of years ago there seemed to be more channels popping up, that it was, I guess, that Danny Masterson really being in the press and stuff like that really got some people a lot more engagement. So it was being discussed in the media and stuff. So I was watching some of the channels on there, and I noticed there was a bunch of people from Toronto who'd started streaming,
right.
um, and they were going over to the org in Toronto, and so I connected with them, and I ended up going and meeting them. Jeff Beaumont and Gabrielle were in from out of town. They came down here because there was an event happening in Toronto, and so I got to meet Jeff and Gabby, and then the whole gang of us just went out for food and stuff like that. And then it just, like, it started going out and started protesting and going to, we got the org shut down. We actually got them
Wow.
evicted. We got them
Good
evicted
for
from the org.
you.
Well, because
Good.
the building in Toronto, they can't afford to maintain it. It's run down, it's moldy, it's decrepit, and I need to talk to the city about that one actually. See what they say about that. But they moved to a rental place in a residential area near a shopping mall, of course, because they always have to have, public access at all times. And we went there, and these folks had been protesting there for a long time. I do believe I just saw one of them, Rumble Rambles To. She's one of my gals. She's one of my beautiful gals from
Ah,
Toronto.
well, there you
Um,
go. Our
she
great achiever. Great achiever.
she's an amazing human being. I love her to pieces. And Christina Kerf is another one. We go out and protest together on a regular basis when we can. She's a very talented musician and singer, and she's a lovely human being. But we just go out when we can. We both, all of us have lives. We have jobs, like everybody does, and we just try and get out there when we can. Right, when we get,
Sure.
we went out on Lisa McPherson's anniversary, and we went to the org, and we saw them packing up, and we heard that they got evicted because we were protesting them,
Wow.
um, and the building said to them, "You can either rent the entire building," because they only had 3 floors. They said, "You can rent the entire building, or you can leave." So they
They said
left.
that to you?
No, they said that to Scientology, like you either rent the whole building or
Wow.
you leave because nobody else wants to rent the empty space while you're
Yeah,
here because they have to
right,
deal with the protesters. And the owner can't do anything about us protesting because the building was like on a corner lot. So
right,
we went down both sides of the building and
right.
we chalked all down around the building. So if they looked out the window, we made it point towards them so they could read all our stuff, you
That's
know.
so good.
And yeah, so we did that in the cold and yeah, pretending to clean up the alley audit. Yeah. Um, we found out that they were doing a local area. They were doing a cleanup. Uh, like Scientology were helping the locals do a cleanup in the neighborhood. So
Sure,
we went out and we found them, and
right.
all they were doing was doing PR stunts. Like we
Well,
followed
sure.
them around, and I did a TikToky thing on it, and I did lots of photographs and video of them. And they took a garbage can and they dumped it in somebody's skip, and then they just left. They just left it there, and they didn't clean up anything. And they had a cameraman with them, taking all these pictures to make them look really good. And we wrote to this organization and we said, they're a human trafficking cult. Like they abuse children, and you're letting them come and help you clean up. And she says, well, this one individual, she didn't give me a name or anything like that. She just said this one individual that has been helping them for years and just suggested that they bring some of their people on board kind of thing. And it was just like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, Michelle and I, we protested, and a, a bunch of people just we protest at the old decrepit org, and people were like, are they still here? That horrible, gross cult that abuses people, and we're like, yeah, they are. They're still around, and
Yeah.
they're quite surprised that because Toronto they got raided and they got taken to court. Like
Wow.
there was big fines and stuff. They got done for fraud, and in Quebec,
Wow.
yeah, and in Quebec, they actually were taken to court and they were fined over $900,000 because they weren't paying their staff. Yeah, they
Wow.
were running slave labor and they weren't paying the people properly. So they ended up getting, I don't know if they paid it. I don't know if it's been settled, but they definitely got fined. But yeah, and then once the court case went through here in Toronto, they actually went after the prosecuting attorney, and they tried to get him for defamation and all this stuff, and they lost. And David Miscavige actually testified.
Really?
Yeah, he came
I
to
can't
Toronto
believe
and
we haven't
testified.
heard this.
Yeah, yeah, he
I
came to
never
Toronto
heard
and
that.
testified. I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of the transcripts. Like, I'm not sure how much it's gonna cost me, but I'm gonna look into it. It's something that I've been curious about because I'd love
Sure.
to see what their arguments were, right? But
Yeah.
they got raided. The Toronto office got raided. They took
Wow.
everything. The cops came and they took everything out. Phil and Willie Jones were still members at the time, and she'd gone to the dentist. I think Phil's told the story. It's really funny. She'd gone to the dentist, and when she got back, she's like, "What the heck's going on?" And like, "You can't go in, ma'am. They're being raided." Um, yeah, it was a big news.
Wow.
And when Michelle and I were protesting, that's Rumble Rambles. A girl came up to us and she said, "My friend's dad is a reporter, and he's had his life threatened. Scientology sent him death threats." And we were like, "Oh, interesting." She said, "Yeah, it's pretty nasty."
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, so it's just it's been a slow progression, and there was some information we got. There was the Guelph is a region in Ontario where I live, and apparently they had Scientology's Drug Free World as a program uh, for community drug
Outreach.
rehabilitation.
Right.
So I don't know, Barris. I don't know. I can't give you any. information on that. Sorry, my love. But
Someone asked, wait, they said, no, that isn't it. Someone asked, why can't this happen here? Here. And it
what do you mean?
already has.
What
This
do you mean?
already
Why
has.
can't it happen here? What
The raid. Why can't we
raid?
raid?
Oh, we
And
had the FBI raid.
yeah, the FBI raid.
Yeah, you had the
So there
FBI
you
raid.
go. It
Cheers.
did happen.
But
Ooh, that's good. Now I can see you.
yeah.
A whole
So
bunch
it's
of
just
you.
something to look into. So
Yeah.
I ended like we went out to we've been to a few of their orgs, and the funny thing, like the drug-free world, we found out about this. So we contacted Guelph Police Department. I think a couple of us called in. And I asked for the media people. I said, "Can I speak to your media PR people?" And I said, "Do you realize that you have a human trafficking organization as a community supporter for a drug rehab program on your
Right.
website?" And they said, "What are you talking about?" I said, go on your website and look. You have something called a drug-free world." I said, "If you click on that website, it will take you to the head office of Scientology." And they're like, "Really?" And I said, "Yes." And right now in Los Angeles, they have several court cases open right now, happening right now, for child sexual abuse, child forced labor, and human trafficking. And she's like, "Oh my God, it was gone the next day." So Jeff Beaumont and his beautiful wife, Andrea, managed to gather a whole bunch of information, and they um, put together a list of organizations and just shared it with a bunch of us and said, "Listen, if anybody has the time to, look into these and maybe contact them and stuff like that." Oh, when that email came, I was just like, I was in a mood that day, and I was like, "Oh, oh, oh, I'm gonna do it." And I actually put together a letter, and I put in all the links and stuff like that, and I sent it out. And a bunch
Good.
of these, I did it through Instagram, I did it through email, I did it through Facebook Messenger. I put it in whatever means these organizations had to contact them, and we got a bunch of, it was all drug-free world. It was community programs, community health programs, community children health programs,
Right.
like all over Canada, and got that taken down. And I don't know if you know, Tory, but there was a few people, not me, I wasn't one of them, but there was a few people that helped Jeff and his fantastic wife. Um, Scientology's drug-free world used to have on the bottom of their website, like about 60 or 70 worldwide police department badges on the bottom
Wow.
that made it look like they were in cooperation with all these police departments. I think Peter Anderson might have been helpful in that situation. I think he might have had something to do with it. They're all gone. They
Good.
contacted every single police department and
Good.
told them about Scientology, and they
Yeah.
all contacted them and said, "Take our badge off." So
I
they have
know that's
no
the thing.
police badges.
Education is amazing. Education is truly amazing. What will happen if people take the time to do it? It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
did you? Well, go on.
no, no, go on. I'm just
No,
gonna keep
no, it's
napping.
okay. No,
Um,
you.
I just like I think Jeff and Andrea. I know he's taken his YouTube channel down now, and he was going to school to study to be somebody who can help people who have religious or cult trauma. Like he was becoming a counselor, and
Good.
I mwah, to him and Andrea. Absolutely,
Yeah.
two absolutely lovely people, and I wish them the best. I really, really do.
I
You
don't
did. I
know
see.
them, but I wish them the best too.
He was a child that was raised in Scientology, and he's out in BC, and he has been protesting. He went down to Portland a few times. He knows Nora pretty well, and I do believe he knows Rika as well. Um, but he has really done a lot of work, you know.
Good.
And because of him, and Andrea, I just jumped right in there. And when I found out that the United Nations were, considering making Scientology, drug-free world a thing, I was like, oh no, you don't.
Good.
I wrote to the United Nations, and it's all it takes. Like, this is what um, it just takes one person. So if everybody just did one little
Does.
thing. Nobody
Right.
says you have to do what Audit LA is doing and what
No.
Lara's doing, right? Nobody's saying you have to go and, you don't have to go out. Like, Miriam puts herself out there, Irish puts herself out there. Like, these people are going out and they're putting themselves right outside of Scientology. You don't have to expose yourself. You can do it anonymously and just
Sure.
try and make a difference, you know? So,
There are a lot of people that were never in Scientology have done amazing things. Because I always say, most of us wouldn't even think of the things that some of the people have done. One
yeah.
of my friends, who's now not even here in the area, so I can tell it, but he figured out the clearing command, and he went around to all the bathrooms around the complex. This was years ago, and put the clearing command on the wall in front of every toilet. Now, I would never think of that, not ever, but I thought,
That's
what a
great. Well,
yeah.
like I said, Phil Jones, Phil and Willie. I think you know Phil Jones,
Oh, sure. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Absolutely
very,
fantastic couple, him and
yeah,
Willie. So I have a pleasure of knowing them now, and have gone and visited them and stuff. And we've protested together several times. And Phil and I did a little project where we um, got all we did Ontario first, and then we did Toronto, Vancouver, BC. We got a list of all the school boards,
right.
and between the information that Andrea had created on a drug-free world and Phil's story about getting recruitment into Scientology and the information I had put together in my little rough draft letter, he put together a document, and we got all the addresses for all the superintendents of every school board in the provinces, and we sent letters out,
Yeah,
you know. Um, so that was a little project, and then he got more involved in the Aftermath Foundation, so it's kind of been put on the back burner. I need to have a chat with him. But Michelle and I have gone out to Niagara Falls and did a little protesting with him. We found out that the Drug Free World was trying to get into banks and give them flyers and go into local healthcare professional, like
yeah.
little
It's
clinics and stuff like
surprising.
that, and
Yeah,
give their. So we went around and we put some. I think it was I think Michelle put some information together. Phil put some information together, and we went in and we talked to the banks, and we talked.
good.
Michelle went in and she talked to um, some of the clinics, and we went around and did that, and then Phil and Willie took us around for a tour of the Niagara on the lake, which was beautiful. We did a little art project together, a little craft thing as well. It was lovely.
Yeah,
But he's a beautiful, beautiful soul. And we went out to a football match here at Hamilton, Ontario, and where they have their Sea Org base in Hamilton, up a mountain in this old church, and they were supposed to be having a booth at this opening game for this Hamilton Ticats. So we all went. We all got out to Hamilton, and we waited, and they never showed. So Phil's like, "Let's go up to the org, and we'll just go up there." So we went up to the org, and we chopped around the whole thing. Phil was talking to the neighbors. Phil was saying, "Hi, do you know about this?" and telling them about him and Willie's history, and all, like, giving them information about Scientology. And
right.
um, one woman came by and she said, "I walk by and I pray them away every day." It's just like, I'm not a religious person, but I was like, good for you, lady. You stick to your guns. They called the police. They called the
Yeah,
police on us.
yeah,
And the police said, nothing I could do about it. They're perfectly within their rights. And he said, I've never encountered this. This is something completely new. And
yeah,
again, we had Phil talk to him. Phil just explained what we were doing and why we were doing it. Genuinely great guy. And like I said, the people that I've met doing this are absolutely wonderful.
yeah.
Um, and I believe we'll be lifelong friends because of it. And then I was going to go down to Portland last year and hook up with Pearl Snappy and Rika and meet Nora and stuff. And then a political climate changed, and that wasn't going to happen. So I reached out to Miriam and let's just put it that way, right?
Yeah,
Keep it
good,
clean.
good. Well said.
Yeah. So I reached out to Miriam because Miriam and myself and a few other people have become really good friends as well. And I said, I'm thinking of coming out because I can't do Portland. I was thinking maybe I'll save up and I'll just come to Copenhagen. And she's like,
Wow.
sure, right?
Yeah.
And I sent Kelly a bunch of photographs from when we were in Copenhagen, and I I had the best time.
Oh, yeah.
We Samuel and Bianca found out that Irish and I were coming, and so we all shared an Airbnb together, and
Oh,
um, we had the best time. Samuel and
yeah.
Bianca are absolutely beautiful souls. Like, it blows my mind that such genuine, lovely people came out of such a horrible situation, you
Yeah.
know, and have become wonderful human beings. And I know it's hard to undo like the trauma that has been inflicted on them. You have to change everything in your life, So seeing them, I came back with a whole different mindset after
Oh,
being
good.
with them, and it changed everything, my whole idea and stuff like that. And I don't know if have you ever met Mona? Maybe at the Father's Day thing. She was in a wheelchair.
That's not Audit LA, is it?
No, you were at the Father's Day thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mona was the other lady in the wheelchair.
Okay.
So Mona she has done a lot. And her and Audit behind the scenes, just putting in the work, amazing.
Yeah, they've
She
done a
used to
lot of
do,
work.
she used to
Is Mona
do
here
her,
in LA?
no,
Does she live here?
she's up, she's in the States, but she's just south of me.
Okay.
Um, so she used to do a little show and it was called Morning Sunshines. So I'd wake up in the morning and we'd all log into YouTube and she'd be like, Morning Sunshines. And then everybody would just chit chatting and she would, for like, she was showing us like the Alaskan dog sled races and stuff like that. But then there was also things where she was talking about what can we do as a community to make this progress? What can we do? Like, and she
Right.
puts ideas. She's an idea woman, and she's right.
Right.
Um, and so she put the idea in my head that there wasn't any available resources or a spot where any victims or of the abuses of Scientology could go and get information. So I decided to do a website.
Oh, good.
So I created a website called Victims Have Voices.
Good.
Um, and I put a bunch of information on there. And Lara gave me her story. Dylan gave me his story. Matthew Holy Rogue gave me his story. Nora gave me her story. Amber Vanass gave me her story. And just recently, I have to update the website. A lady called Pamela Nicole Williams, she wrote a book, and I reached out and contacted her through TikTok, and I said, here's my website that I put together. Would you be interested, or would you allow me to add your information to this resource that I have?" And she said, "I didn't even know this existed." And she's like, "Yes." And she sent me a bit of a bio and her book information. So um, I just thought it gives the information on the and this is with the help of a few other people. Like, there's been a lot of input. Like, I've put in the work and stuff like that, but a lot of other people have contributed to help me
Sure.
gather some information. But
Right.
it gives a base of where you can go, who you can contact, what the actual Mona gave me a list of all the actual laws that have been broken.
Right.
Um, so if you click on, yeah, what are the crimes? Click on what are the crimes, Kelly. And this is a whole list of the actual crimes that have been committed
Ah,
against you as an individual within
good.
Scientology. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Let
And
me
I
ask you this. On that website, do you have a section for medical abuse?
no,
Because you really should add it, and I will be happy to tell my story. But there's a lot of medical abuse that happens in Scientology,
I would love that. I would
and people
love
need to
that.
be warned of it. It's one of the reasons I speak out, because people go into it thinking, "Oh, my diabetes will be handled with Dianetics," and it won't. It just
No,
won't. And
no.
it's just awful. Like my mother, thank God, saved my life because she said, "Tori, they're going to kill you." And I said, "No, no, Dianetics will fix it. You don't know anything about it." And she got my grandfather, who's a doctor, with her, and
Yep,
she said, "Look, either you get on your medicine, or I'm gonna fly out there tomorrow. If your doctor doesn't call me today and say you're back on your medicine for epilepsy, I'm
yep,
gonna fly out there. And believe me, L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology will not forget your mother." And it did save my life. It really did. And so I can't tell you how many other people I've talked to in Scientology who have had horrible stories because Scientology made them get off their medicine. Or I know 17 kids who've unalived themselves because they couldn't go to a therapist.
yep.
It's intense. It is.
Well, Tori, maybe we could arrange something where we could gather some information and you could get it to me. Kelly has my email address.
Sure.
And we could put something together and maybe
Yeah.
work on stories. If you we People can be anonymous, they don't have to give their names or anything like that, but it would be nice to have stories of situations so people can understand, because the whole point of the website is, one, to give, here's where you can go, the DOJ, the FBI, and
Right.
stuff like that. This is who you go to. Unfortunately, right now we've got Pam Bondi, who was financed by Scientology, as the DOJ. But the whole purpose is to give them one place where they can go, see the crimes, see who they can do. And then there's a law firm who have stepped forward and said, we will do it on a contingency basis. We will
Right.
represent all of the victims who come forward and want us to uh, see if they have a case or not, right?
Wow.
And it's a law firm who have taken on the Mormons, they've taken on the Catholic Church, and they got a $2 billion settlement from Boy Scouts of America
Wow.
for sexual
Cool.
abuse, right?
Cool.
So they're well versed in it. So
Good.
all people have to do is there's an email link that they can just click on the website, and they can email information to me. If you want to people want to just, you know, click on I think there's a contact somewhere. Uh, yeah, so here I've got like all the human trafficking
Sure.
reporting website and everything. And Mona actually contacted them and she found out how to directly get a hold of someone and to follow up and do stuff so that they don't forget about you. Like
Right.
just keep calling them and saying, "Give me a case number. I'm going to contact you again. Give me a
Yeah.
case number." And given the current situation of the whole Epstein files and stuff like that, um, people are very aware of the human trafficking in the world right now. Like Rob Bonta, who is the AG of California, I've read that right now him and many other people are trying to rally the Senate to pass laws and Congress to pass laws to protect kids from online situations. And with
Right.
Scientology right now trying to push all the children's programs, that whole new thing they've got going right now,
Awful.
the golden age of
We were there
abusing
Friday.
children.
Yeah, they had the kids there Friday. It was like awful.
Disgusting.
It's
Absolutely
it really is.
disgusting.
Now,
You know?
one thing I want to say before I forget it, and this is just because you're such an activist, and this is a voice for someone, whether it's you or a friend or anybody who hears this, but it's such a great idea. This was in 2000. There was an ex-Scientologist who said, we were out protesting and stuff like that. And he said, now I'm going to do something different. And he got all the quotes, not all, but he got a bunch of quotes from Hubbard and a bunch of quotes from the Bible. And he said, I'm going to go around to every head of a church. And I'm going to talk to the head of the church and have the head of the church talk to his congregation about Scientology and the abuses. And and he used the Bible. It was like, here's what Scientology says, here's what the Bible says here. It was unbelievable. We went to the first one, Frank Oliver and I. Both of us had helped OSA. Frank worked for OSA. I helped him. And we were in there and we knew OSA was there. And this guy, read both, and immediately they looked awful, right? And then he said to the congregation, and these guys are a block away from Flag. That's where they
Right.
were in Clearwater. And he said, would all of you like to know what they really believe? And everybody said, yeah. And he said, well, I have to warn you, you could get pneumonia and you could die if I tell you this. And the whole place just burst out laughing. It was really funny. And I mean, it wasn't for them, but it was funny for
Yeah.
us. And he read all about OT3 and the place just roared with laughter. And I thought that is such a great way. And I knew they'd get to him, and they did. I mean, the guy
Yeah.
was gone within, maybe he saw two ministers and that was it. He was gone. But somebody else could do it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
The concept is fantastic. It would take some work, but it's like if some people got together. I mean, I just think it's one of the best ways to educate people because it's their minister, their head of their church
Yeah.
telling them about an abusive cult, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in this day and age, with the age of the internet and the presence of live streaming and stuff like that, it's harder for Scientology to bullshit.
Oh,
It's
totally,
so hard for them to bullshit because
totally.
they can edit the hell out of something, but the person on the other end of their abuse has the videos and stuff like that. Like that old fella that went after Lara a couple of times, and then he, tried to get in Nora's face on Father's Day. Sorry, dude, it's not okay. Like
No,
they might teach you that just bull bait the shit out of people.
yeah, just like
Miriam
that
was,
letter was sent to me to try to pay me off to take out Aaron. And I made a video about it, talking
yeah,
to Aaron, saying, "Look,
I
get it
watched
together,
I
man."
watched that. Yeah, I watched that video. I was in your chat. Um, I try. You're on quite late sometimes, so
But that's the thing,
I
you
try
guys
and
are
stay
so
up.
important. It's not
Yeah,
like maybe it's like some critics have done major things. I mean, Andreas, who created Xenu.net, which is
yeah,
this is his whole website, and he
yeah.
passed away, but I keep
But
showing
it's
it.
still relevant. Like the information
It's
on there is so
totally
important.
relevant. It's
So
totally
important.
relevant.
And there's so like
And he was
even
never in. He was
yeah,
never in.
there was an article that was written by a professor out of Alberta University talking about Scientology as well. You know, there's so much information out there if you just look.
Right.
Do you know what I found, Tory, and I think you might get a kick out of this. I found Kendrick Moxon's letter to the city of Clearwater, FOIA requesting everything on Mark Bunker. And it wasn't surprising, right? It wasn't surprising at all. But
No.
I came across it one day when in all the researchy things that I was doing and trying to dig up, right? But yeah, it was. Let me go back to Copenhagen. We went to Copenhagen. You can't film. Uh, One, you need a permit to protest, right? If you're doing a protest, you have to go to the police, you have to get a permit. So Miriam has to do that every time she protests. So the police
Right.
know where she is, the police know what she's doing. They've seen her videos, they know. Scientology has gone after Miriam a few times, tried to get a restraining order against her. Didn't work
Really?
because yeah, twice they've done it, and
Oh,
it didn't work because she hadn't done anything wrong. You're not
right.
allowed to film people to live stream in there without their approval, right?
Really?
Yeah, you
Out on
can't
the street even?
yeah, so that's why Miriam always has the camera either on her face or on the sign that she printed.
Oh.
Right? She never has it on the org itself
Oh.
because they look out the windows. We were there. We protested at the org, and they were coming out the windows, and we were dancing, and we were playing JoJo's music, and Irish was streaming, and Samuel was streaming, and Bianca was there. Anne came down from Sweden as well. Like there was a whole bunch of people there, and yeah, that's Balaj, Irish, Miriam, and myself. That was in
Wow.
the just coming out of the airport. We just picked up Irish.
That's
Yeah.
so great.
So, and this was in our Airbnb. Bianca just arrived. I was
Very
already in my
fun.
pajamas. It was a long day. This is Michelle. This is my fellow protester. That is pints after some protesting.
There you go.
But and that's our friend Christina. She comes out too. It's great, And that was so right across from the Advanced Org in Copenhagen is an Irish pub. So on my birthday, we went and sat outside the Irish pub and had pints, and they were in all those windows, like right above where it says St. Hill, that H, right above that window, they were filming us on their phones outside that window. It was really funny
That
because we
is
just,
funny.
yeah, and they were not impressed. They weren't happy about that. Weren't happy about that. But we weren't doing anything. We were just having a pint.
Yeah.
I just happened to turn my chair around and just stare at them.
Right.
But we were dancing and we were singing and we were handing out information to people. I talked to a woman who she was actually from America, and her aunt was in Scientology and had raised her kids in it, and they left. So the kids had left, and they were trying to get the aunt out of Scientology because they were just burning through her money. And she said, we just are having such a hard time trying to convince her that like it's not a good idea. Like they're using her just for a financial gain. And she said she doesn't know if she would ever be able to get her out of there. But it was really good because people were asking, why are you here? And Samuel just told his story, like how he was a child working in the kitchens at St. Hill for 16
Mm.
hours a day at the age of, I don't know, like 8, 9, as a cook in a kitchen. Like, do they
Yeah.
even have insurance for that? I don't think it exists, right? So many violations of so many things. And yeah, so Copenhagen to me was just ugh. The people are beautiful. Irish loves the Danish policeman. She's gonna get herself a Danish policeman husband. Yep. Um, but we had a wonderful, wonderful time.
That's so
And
good. That's
like I
so
said,
good.
I came home with a different state of mind, and I decided that we gotta get in there and we gotta do the calls, right? Gotta help audit. We do the police calls into the police commission. We do the calls into the Board of Public Works. I can't do it all the time, but I do it when I can, and gather information, share information, get it out there. And like I said, it's 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 incredible the sense of community. I know a lot of people. There's I don't care about all that rubbish. Um, I have met incredible people with genuine hearts and really good intentions,
Sure.
and we're all trying to work really hard together to make a change.
Right.
And if we can, we will.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible, and I would like to encourage everybody to just do that one little thing. Like if everybody did one little thing, if there was 100 people, that's 100 little things,
Yeah.
that could make a difference. Like today, Nora was going over the Alex Barnes Ross, who I think you've met from
Yeah.
England, right?
I
He
know him.
he he managed to get an audio of the event that just happened for the birthday celebration.
Right.
And so Nora was going over it, and there was something about Scientology went to the state of Arizona Historical Society and got the buildings named as historical. You have to pay for it, so they probably just gave them a bunch of money and said, "Make this happen. It must be. It's a historical thing." We have to undo that. You can't have a building of a cult that abuses children be a historical building. Seriously?
They have a lot of them. That's a very tricky thing. That's a very
Yeah,
tricky thing because it's the building. It's not, they don't look at it as Scientology's historical. It's the
the
building.
building
And
itself.
and a lot of these buildings here, and not a lot, but they have more than one that are historical buildings. That's why the HGB, that's a
Mm,
historical building where I always thought it was Hubbard something. And I was like, what does it stand for? And it's actually Hollywood Guarantee Building
okay.
because
So it's an old building.
that was the name of the building. And they have to
Okay.
keep that name of the building. They can't change it. They have above it Scientology, but as far as the actual name, it's still HGB.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
they're trying to say that this is the original building of like Scientology in Arizona. So it's
I
like
don't know. To me, it's
historical.
like you have to take things that you can get done.
Yeah.
That like look at the history and see how long did it take them to do it, and then try to duplicate it. That's what I
Yeah.
think because some things that we can say we're going to do them, and maybe that we will. Like the stuff Audit LA has done, I'm
Ugh.
amazed at. I mean, I'm just
She's
stunned.
incredible.
She's
She's
incredible.
incredible.
I know.
Like
She really
honestly,
is.
she I have nothing
We
bad
were
to say
there
about that woman.
Friday, and they had a
Oh,
big party, and within minutes, Drew just walked down the street with big signs, protest signs, and within minutes they were all inside, and that's just the way it is.
yeah.
They can't handle anything. It's like you think about it. We went by the testing center on our way to the complex, and the testing center has now become a tourist trap where it's just
Yes.
TikTok kids outside. But to me, if I worked for Scientology still, I would say, come on in. And if they came in and they were nice, I'd let them look around, because you never know when they're going to fall for something.
Yeah.
But if they were any kind creepy at all, I'd say on camera, look, you guys obviously don't really care about Scientology, so you're going to have to leave. And then they would escort them out. but then they
Yeah.
wouldn't look like idiots. You see what I mean?
They
When
shut
they
the
would,
doors as soon.
when people walk up and they shut the doors, it's like, how stupid can you get?
Oh no, the best one is they lock the doors when somebody shows up outside. And
Right.
that's a fire code violation.
I know.
You
It's
can't lock people in the building. Like there's people in there like curious and they shut the doors and block them from getting out. That's a
I
fire
know.
code violation,
I know.
stupid
It's really,
like
really,
Scientology.
but Warrior has truly shown. I mean, and she's the top end of miles and years of people protesting and doing good things. So it
Yeah,
isn't just her. You know what I mean? Including yourself. You know, it's like
yeah.
everyone on this chat is part of what Audit LA has been able to get done. You know what I
Honestly,
mean?
like I had a really good long talk with Audit. It was a long conversation, and she's phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
her, like her and Mona. Like Mona's head works in one way, and Audit's head works in another way. And then there's all of us little things, and we all put our stuff in the kitty, and you try and pull out good ideas from all of everybody's contributions. She's just doing it right. I don't care
Yeah.
what anybody says, she's just doing it right. And the best thing she's done is to lend support to Lara. I think Lara really needed somebody in her corner. And I genuinely think that Audit is that person who's pulled, who's Scientology made a mistake by making Lara lose her job because
Oh
now she
yeah.
just has more time to focus on taking them down.
Sure.
Um, and I think her and Audit together are a brainstorming incredible duo because Lara spoke the other day and she was just on fire. Like she was just so good. And each time she speaks, the confidence builds. And
Right.
I know it's really triggering for her to talk about it publicly and stuff like that, but you can see her strength growing within her and her confidence is growing. And when she talks to people in public now, she's not as trembly and shaky and stuff like that.
Oh,
And it was funny the night that Reese came down and you guys were all on the street and I had your stream on one computer. I had Lara on another computer and Reese on another. So I had the three of you going at the same time. And I'd never, because I've only ever like when Lara streams, I've watched Lara stream, right? So when
right.
she's yelling and her voice is big, she's not yelling, she just got a big voice. Um, you don't realize. But then I was listening to Reese, and you can hear like Reese is at the other end of the street, and Lara's over there, and you can hear her. And I'm like, that girl. So that's why they don't want her anywhere near them
Right.
because her voice carries,
Right.
and she's just telling the truth, right? She's just letting them know, like you can walk out. My favorite thing is what you said about you. If you want to leave, just walk out the front door. Like
Right.
you know um but she's she's powerful and they made a big mistake. They should have let her keep her goddamn job because she's just gonna get in their face
Right.
and she could has every legal right to do it.
Right.
So yeah, so
Well, my thing
there.
is this, everybody has their way of doing it, and some are more effective than others, but as a cumulative thing, it really helps. And it
Yeah,
really makes a difference. And it's important. That's why I've said since 2000, every voice matters. Because I know people think, oh, so and so is all that matters. But it
mm,
isn't. Like back in the day, it was like Bob Minton or Stacy. That if they say something, that's it. But it was
yeah,
like they, they, their, their reputation was based on all the other people that were supporting them. That might
yeah,
just say one or two things, but it really made a difference.
yeah.
It
It's
really
very
did.
true. It's very
Hmm.
true. I was just thinking of something there, and it went away because I was too busy listening to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, yeah. Um, what was it? It was you said something and it triggered something in my brain and it's gone. It's okay.
Every voice matters.
It probably something to do with that. But you went on and you mentioned Bob Minton and
Stacy Brooks.
you were just saying everybody has a different way of doing things.
Right.
So I think that was it. Everybody has a different way of doing things, and I made
And
me
they
think
all
of
matter. It's like cumulative.
yeah,
Without, if Audit LA was just by herself, she would still be effective, but it wouldn't be as effective as, they going on the internet and seeing all the other things that they can see.
yeah,
Very important.
yeah. So it was more to do with Michelle and I went and we protested. Um, they were having a St. Hill event, special graduation. Uh, at the so they've been evicted from the old org, right? Because we came and we protested and we pissed them off. Um, and they now have one floor above a paint store. That's the org in Toronto. A floor above a paint store.
I can't hear the last part of what you're saying. It's a one floor above what?
Above a paint store.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
They're so
And that's in
successful.
Toronto?
They're so successful. Oh my God. Just raking in the money. Anyway, um, so we were protesting and we had some people come by and go, why are you guys protesting Scientology? And we're, oh, they're right in that building. And they're like, what? And they walked up to the sign of tenants and they're like, what the are they doing in my neighborhood? They weren't impressed.
Yeah.
They were not happy about it
Yeah.
at all, you know?
Right.
And Lara and Audit went to the CPAP meeting last week, and Lara had all these flyers that T had made up. Like they put all this information together, and Lara printed up all these flyers, and she was handing them out to everybody and having a conversation with everybody after the meeting. I'm a victim of Scientology, and these are all the front groups. She was incredible. She was
Yeah.
incredible. And they ended up sitting with a couple of the police officers that have been very not helpful with protesters. And her and Audit sat there and had conversation with them and kind of turned them around. The one guy said, "You're invited to all of our events." Like,
Ah.
because Scientology tried to get them banned from the religious one that they did, like oh, what was that called? Somebody in the chat will probably know. Um, when they went to the event and it was the religious groups all got together and they had a thing, and Scientology went up and tried to get Audit and Lara kicked out. And they're like, oh, no, you don't. We have every right to be here. So
Yeah.
the guy that they ended up communicating with during that situation, he was at the CPAB. And he said to Lara, we'll never not invite you to our events again.
Right.
It was just, she did a great job. Like she genuinely did.
I know she really helped me here in Burbank. She told me they're going to have a meeting in Burbank. We went. She came, and I said, "Well, we can't mention Scientology." And she said, "Hell, we can." Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
are.
can. Well, Audit and Amy, yes, Amy M. They said like I didn't. I got okay. I got. I just TikTok never appealed to me because I thought I don't have time to sit and watch other people's faking videos about their cat. As much as I would love to, I just don't have the time in my day, right? But Amy and Audit convinced me that if like Scientology are on TikTok and they're trying to push their agenda on TikTok and
Yeah.
just get on TikTok. Get on TikTok and try and create. So I reached out to Rika because she's like the TikTok queen. She gets in her car in the morning with her coffee and she does
Who
videos.
is it?
And there's Rika. She's in Portland. Yeah, she's
She's in
been
Portland.
protesting. Yeah, she's been protesting up in Portland for a couple of years. She actually helped somebody out of Scientology. She helped a guy financially get away and get counseling and go home. So I forgot what I was saying. I'm like you now. The
We were
brain is
talking about
gone.
TikTok,
TikTok,
and you
TikTok.
said, yeah,
Thank you. So I started just taking clips, like, and I did a Zoom call with Rika, and she taught me how to use TikTok because I didn't know how to
that's
upload a
what I
thing or
need. That's what I need
yeah,
because someone was helping me and then they won't anymore. And I need someone. I don't know how to do it. And if you do the YouTube how to do it, they're all really long, long videos, so they make money.
yeah. I just no, I take clips like the other day. Roberta and her family. Um, it's the guys who are on the skateboards all the time. Her husband and her son, and they were protesting at Sacramento on uh, L. Ron Hubbard's birthday.
Right.
And her son had a sign that said that Scientology is a criminal organization, and he skated down the street holding it and came towards her camera, and then he turned around and then he skated backwards and pulled it out. So I sat with my phone and I recorded it, and I just added a filter from TikTok and then added some music. And I had to change it for YouTube because there was a copyright strike on the music, but that was easy. I just did it in YouTube Editor. Um, and so I posted that, and it was so powerful because he quotes the statute of peonage and slavery um, and human trafficking on this sign, and it was just really good. So just little things like that, like if somebody speaks volumes to something, like Jamie Mustard said, we did a live with Lara about a month ago, and she brought Jamie Mustard on, and he said one of Scientology's greatest crimes is erasing a child's mind, and
Right.
it's so true. It's so true. They erase their mind, they erase their humility, they erase their empathy, they erase their humanity, they erase their compassion, and they create a machine. They create a little Scientology machine that obeys what they tell them, and it's awful. And there's no way that touch assisting adults as a small child is in any way, shape, or form cool. Um, and I'm sorry, being a pedophile and making it look like a child is just an adult that's been reborn. Who the hell came up with that fucking concept? I am sorry. That is toilet
Right.
water. That is toilet water. So I actually made a sign up. I have paint sticks and I have a dry erase board from the dollar store, and I did a sign that said that exact thing. Scientology's biggest crime is erasing a child's mind, and I had it with me at the protest. And um, people pay attention. Like you don't. Sometimes you don't even have to talk. Miriam has the big sign that she has a big banner that they put across a bench, and then she has a like a board that's got a sign on each side, and she
Yeah,
just has
sandwich
it on
board.
the yeah, she has it on the street, and she hands out the little. She came up with the idea. Got to give her that. She came up with the idea of these cards, and it says Scientology's crimes on them, and then there's a QR code that takes you to F Sciento, which is a website that Fluffer Squirrel created. Um, and it's got a whole bunch of information and stuff on it about Scientology. And I think Holly, Scientology Geek, I think you've talked to Scientology Geek, have you? Do you know Scientology? She's fantastic. Um, but
That's how I started doing these cards. Have you ever seen my cards?
Yeah, I've seen you giving them out. They're great.
They're really popular. I mean, people love them, and I'll give one out, and three other people say, "Could I get one of those?" You
Mm,
know, because they. I just said this is the information Scientology won't tell you. That's all. And I usually start with Scientology. Your life is in danger. You know, I say that to young people, and they go, "Why?" And I go, "You're 15 minutes away from Scientology." And they go, "Oh my God, I've been wanting to speak to someone that knows about this." Because they've all seen the videos, but they can't believe that they're true. So it
that's the
really
thing.
helps. And we used to pass out flyers, but they always ended up on the street. And so I noticed that. And I said, "Look,
Yeah,
let's do business cards because everybody keeps business cards. They don't keep
yeah,
flyers because they're too bulky."
yeah,
So that's what got me doing it.
yeah.
But they're
Well,
really, I'll tell you, they're really
Miriam's
good.
given out thousands. I've not given out thousands, but we one day we were protesting, and a young fella came and talked to us, and he said he's very much involved in the skateboard community, and he followed Aaron Cairo, who's the guy who runs Scientology San Francisco, and he said that that guy destroyed an amazing, or like, they built skateboards. It was a company that a lot of people believed in and relied on, and he just shut that company down and went off to Scientology. It was
Wow.
making millions, and he just disappeared for 2 years and went to do his thing at Flag to become the head guy at Scientology San Francisco. And that company went in the toilet, and all those people were speaking out about it. So this young guy was saying that he was part of the skateboard community, so he knows how Scientology has destroyed people's livelihoods and stuff like that, either directly or indirectly. Then we had another young girl who was in the area because she was going to roller derby. She was participating in a roller derby tournament, which I thought was really cool because that's really physical. And she was a former Jehovah's Witness. So she was having a conversation about her experience with that. And then an older fella came across, and he was a psychologist. And he'd been studying a lot of things, and he was writing a book on cults. And he said he's very much delved right into Scientology, and he says, and it's despicable. Like, he and so we had great conversations, and we were just like, wow, we're just standing here with signs and a little bit of a protest and putting some chalk on the ground, and we dug up some incredible conversations with some people in the public. Irish gets it all the time. She's out at the Dublin org. She tries to go once a week, and the local neighbors want nothing to do with Scientology, and
No,
um, she's had some really fantastic conversations with the people out there. Yeah,
right.
so yeah, and they're trying to get into the Irish dance community. Like they're renting
Oh,
out the hall, the community center, the
wow.
Scientology Church Community Center, to the Irish dance community. And
Interesting.
yeah, so I talked to a local pub owner near me because St. Patty's Day, they always bring in schools, Irish dance schools, to perform during St. Patty's Day.
Sure.
And she's got schools that have world champions, right? So I told her about it. I said, can you try and educate the people that Scientology is trying to recruit the young people of the Irish dance community into Scientology? Like, they're presenting themselves as a good, safe space, but they're
Yeah,
not.
they'll go
And she knows
anywhere.
they're not. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the
So
Irish is out there.
yeah, you wherever you go, let them know. That's the way I feel. It's like it doesn't matter. You know, I've just been so shocked at the responses people have wherever I am. You know, I just happen to mention it. You know, if I go to the
Yeah.
doctor, I tell the person that's helping me, "Oh, I was in a cult for 30 years," and they always go, "A cult? What cult were you in?" every single person. They never go, "Oh, you were in a cult. Okay, no problem. I'm not in." You know, they never do. They always go, "A cult? What were
Yeah,
you in?" I go, "Scientology. You've probably heard of it. Tom Cruise, John Travolta." And they go, and that's from Norway, because I flew over to Norway, and I said, "I want to see the, the org here or whatever they have, a mission." And
yeah,
Andrea said, "Why? It's just a doorbell." They were upstairs. And the kids didn't even know what it was. I'd say, "Look, we're going to do a talk," because they were trying to get Andreas fired at the time. And I said, "We're going to do a talk about the, the darker side of Scientology." And they said, "No, we don't even know what it is." And I said, "Tom Cruise, John Travolta?" And they said, "Oh, yeah, no, no, we're not interested." I think they thought I was trying to get them into it, which I wasn't. But
well,
yeah.
that was a funny thing, when I was watching Roberta's thing the other day. A guy came across, and he actually thought they were pro Scientology. They were out
Oh,
on the
yeah.
streets trying to, with signs that said Anti-Scientology, but this guy was just going by, and he's like, "I am this person who is a wise and whatever wizard," and he was it was great because he was actually saying what Scientology is bad. They are bad, and this is this. And but Roberta let him talk. She didn't stop him and say, "No, we're actually anti-Scientology." She just let him talk because he was trying to convince her that what she was doing was wrong and gave a speech on how bad Scientology was. And then he left.
Well,
And
I
she's just
always
like,
tell them, because I have a lot of people, not a lot, but I have people that go by who will think that, and they look up at the sign, and I say, "Don't get into it. I was into it for 30 years. I'm speaking from experience." And
yeah,
almost everyone turns around and goes, "Really? 30 years?" And then they're ready to hear it. And I think four different guys that were going to join the Sea Org came back and told me, I gave my card. I said, "Go
mhm,
learn it, learn both sides, and then
yeah.
make up your mind. But don't join the Sea Org until you know both sides." And they
Yeah.
came back and said, "We can't thank you enough. We were on our way to join the Sea Org." They
Why
were.
would you want to join us? I guess nobody they think it's they don't realize it's just a slave
They
labor.
are very good. That is one thing they're good at, is roping people in. And everyone has buttons, and this is what I explain to people.
Yeah,
Everyone on this YouTube site, everyone has some buttons. It's usually like work, money, relationships, communication, those kind of things, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
everyone has them, and they're not good at one of those four or five things. So then Scientology finds out what your buttons are, and then they
yeah.
go, "Oh, they used to say we can fix it, but obviously that didn't work. So now they say, well, there's a chance we could help you with that." But even then, people go, "Really?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, definitely." And that now they know who to get you to inside, who will say, "Man, I had, let's say it's money, and I
Yeah.
really had trouble with money, but I got into Scientology, and now, blah,
I
blah, blah,
have
blah."
no money.
Yeah,
So I don't have
that's a
trouble with
fact.
money anymore because Scientology
Yeah.
took it all.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a fact, but they don't have it that way. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's interesting to talk to them. It is.
Oh, well, one of my favorite conversations, well, actually, I gotta say two of my favorite conversations. I love when you talk to Dylan. I love when you and Dylan have a conversation. Like chat doesn't exist, right? The two of you just have a conversation, and
When me
it's
and who?
Dylan.
Oh, Dylan. Yeah.
I love watching the two of you talk.
Yeah.
I he he takes things and he puts it in a perspective that makes sense, right?
Right.
Um, and it's a perspective that only somebody who's been in it would know how to put it. And I love that. And he
Yeah.
shares it. And thank you, Dylan. The other one was Reese. I loved when you talked to Reese.
Right.
Um, I because she's never really spoke to anybody, like, um, had a conversation and stuff like that, and engaged so casually in a conversation, and it was really good to see because
Yeah.
her her channel isn't about Scientology. It's just
No.
there's a lot of people who come to her channel just to chit chat.
Right.
It's a safe space for some people, right? So she has a lot of people that just come there just to hear her talk about life and whatnot.
And
And
she's funny.
she is fucking funny. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
she's fucking funny. I'm
No, she
swearing.
is.
Sorry, she is genuinely funny. Her and her ham flaps. She talks about ham flaps, and I won't tell you what that means. But those who but those who follow these will know. But I genuinely liked that conversation because it was um, she was able to communicate with somebody who knew what she was talking about, right?
Right.
Um, and I just, I'm glad that there are people. Just because you're an ex-Scientologist doesn't mean you hang out with all the ex-Scientologists on the planet, right? But it's nice that there's a community that some of them have came together and found each other and are trying
Right.
to work together to improve a situation. Because I don't hang out with every Scottish person in Toronto. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't go out of my way and go, "Oh, you're Scottish? Oh my God, so am I. Let's hang out. Yeah, let's go knit kilts and eat haggis." No, we don't do that, right?
I would
But
hope not.
but it's nice that some of you are finding each other and working together to try and make a change.
Yeah.
And some of us who've never been in it, people people say like, "Who the hell are you, and why the hell do you care?" And it's like I have found kids who've been abused their whole life who didn't know they were being abused because it was taught to them that it was normal. And I'm at an age now where I've lived my life, right? I've enjoyed my life. I've lived my life. And maybe it's just that point in my life where it's time to try and do something helpful for somebody else in a big way.
Right.
And and so that's how I look at it. And I've just been incredibly fortunate that I've met some really fantastic people
I
and getting
know.
involved in that, right? Who
Right.
knew, you know? I've been pretty fortunate in my life in general that the people that I have met have been fantastic because I have friends that I've known since I was 5, and we're still friends. I
That's
went home
good.
to Scotland, and we all got together, and it was like we were never
Oh.
apart. You know what I mean? Like we're all old ladies now, but we're just as absolutely stupid as we were when we were 5. You know. Um,
And
so
fun.
yeah, yeah. And I've been ignoring the chat because I've been enjoying the conversation, but I can see my darling Irish is there, and I can see my darling Summer Savage is there too. So hi,
I
my
know.
love.
I see a darling everybody, but I'm trying to just enjoy you.
That's what I mean.
And
Like I'm not. I don't
so
mean to ignore chat, but
yeah, we're not ignoring you. We see
I'm
you and we
genuinely
love
loving.
you. And thank
Yeah.
you for coming by. And
Yeah.
thank you for coming by. And I want to
No,
tell you
thank you.
something funny about Dylan. When I first left, I thought there were only 50 people on the internet. So because I had shut down a message board, and message boards were little tiny, there were like 10, 20, 30 people on them.
Yeah, I
One
remember.
of them was Bunker. And I knew Bunker from protesting when I was
Right.
in. So anyway, that's what I thought. I thought ARS, which was their original thing, was 50 people. So I put my phone number when I decided to leave. I put Magoo left the building, and I put, look, I'm done. Anybody who wants to talk to me, here's my phone number. But if you're just going to pitch Scientology, forget it, right? And
Right.
that's it. So all kinds of people started calling me. At first I went to Clearwater. Then when I came back, Dylan called me and told me his whole story. And he has a long story. And he told me his whole story, and it was amazing. Anyway, and then, we sort of became friends then. Then about 1,000 other people called me all during the day, every day, because there were only 4 phone numbers that were up there of ex-Scientologists.
Right.
No one else would speak out. All the people that are activists now were in the church still, right? So we were out speaking out, and if they were out, they were too afraid to say their names and numbers.
Right.
So people would call me. So all these people would call with their stories, and then a month later, Dylan called me. And he said, "Remember me?" And I said, "Not really. What's your deal again?" And he got really mad. He said, "How can you forget my story?" You know, I spent an hour telling you my whole life story. I mean, he was really, really offended. And I felt so bad because it was like, God, he's such a nice guy. You know what I
He
mean? It
is.
was like,
He's incredible.
I
Yeah.
really felt bad. So I said, okay, I'm going to remember it. And so but that was like, Casablanca at the end, it says, this is the beginning of a great friendship. And that's the way I felt with Dylan. It was like that, me forgetting his story was the beginning of a great friendship
That's
where
great.
we've just
Yeah.
become really good friends for years.
I'm
And I stay in
genuinely,
touch with him. Huh?
yeah, I'm genuinely happy about that because yeah, he's a solid dude.
He's a
And you
really
know who
good guy.
the other one is Mark Bunker. Like that
Oh, yeah.
guy, what not I don't want to call him a superstar, but superstar kind of because he has gone through the ringer. Like they
Oh,
have
yeah.
put him through everything. They have
Everything.
tried everything on that man, and he is
Yeah.
still friggin' standing to this day.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, he's going to now
um,
run for office, and hopefully people will chip in some money because just like every little thing you do counts, well, every
yep,
little dollar matters towards somebody running for
right.
office.
Okay, so everybody in the chat, if you all put $1 and send it to Mark Bunker to help with his running for Clearwater Council again. Now, I was in your chat last week when you had Dylan on, and I had just watched the video from the Clearwater. No, it wasn't Clearwater Council. It was Pinellas County, where Mark Bunker and Brooks Gibbs and Kelly, who is a part of the Save the Garden group, had gone and spoke, and that's what needs to be done. Like it needs to be um, talked about, and they need to find resolutions because what they were actually talking about was how there are properties that are still owned by Pinellas County. The
Right.
county owns them. So let's
Right.
try and take those properties and turn them into something that is viable as a tourist kind of bring the people back to Clearwater
Sure.
situation, since Scientology owns about 90% of Clearwater now. So it's like let's keep, because some of the properties apparently up for sale, and nobody knew about it. It wasn't publicly announced that these pieces of property could potentially be going up for sale because
Right.
Scientology is going to buy them, right? So
Right.
it's like put it out there so that the public knows about it, and
That's
then
good.
we can actually. So that's what they were talking about. Mark talked about how they brought in a contractor, um, and he was helping people, get work done in the properties to create industry. And Brooks was talking about how his son put together a plan, and he did a live with the Journey. Um, she has put together a map of all Scientology's properties across the world, their missions,
Wow.
the buildings. So
I
she
saw that,
she
I think. Yeah.
yeah, so she has done that, and Brooks was thanking her for the work that she's put in because his son built a project using the information on her charts, to try and build like here's a potentially progressive plan where we could turn this into a viable entity that would bring people to the city. So but that's what I'm saying, like there's people out there, everybody has a different idea. I'd have never thought of that. I I'd have never
Right.
thought of gathering all that information up and doing stuff, right?
Right.
Never in a million years. That's just not
Right.
where my brain goes.
Right.
Mona found lawyers, you know, Mona found lawyers to help the victims try and build a case. Audit is undoing the safe pointing that Scientology's done in LA for decades. Since the 60s, they've been involved with the police
Right.
department, you know, and she's trying to undo that. And having Lara by her side as a victim of the abuse is so huge. And then Nora has started calling in, and Jamie Mustard has even called in to the Board of
Good.
Public Works meetings, right? So
Good.
it having the voice of the kids. Now, I don't know if you've seen it, but Nora and Liz Gale did a book thing at a store in Portland because Liz has written a couple of books now. So they did a
A-
book reading,
And this was
and
recently?
it was about a month and a half ago, I think.
Okay.
And um, it was so good because they're like little sidekicks, right? They're really good friends, and they were telling the public about Scientology, and they used a bit of humor and kind of lightheartedness to try and get their story across. And it was so good. It was just so good. And they were educating the public while they were doing this. And I thought, that needs to go on the road.
Right.
We need the Liz and Nora show going on the road and telling the like every bookstore in Oregon about the horrible cult of Scientology, and then take it across America. There you go. But it was genuine, and and it was just heartwarming, but at the same time sad because they were talking about a cult. But they were throwing some humor into it, and Liz read some of her book, and they answered some questions from people in the audience. And I think that's a really, really good approach. You know,
Sure.
if you have like Jamie Mustard, when he wrote his book, he went on a bunch of YouTube channels and did interviews. He even did an interview with a couple of newspapers in the UK as well. Um, and then, you know, we have been talking about, well, why don't we just get Jamie Mustard's books to all the people in Los Angeles? And then Miriam said, well, stop talking about it and start doing it. Like, come on. So she pulled up her socks and said, okay, let's do this. Let's everybody send either money to audit or books to audit. Audit, create an Amazon wish list, and let's get Jamie's book to the police commission and the Board of Public Works and the city council. So a whole bunch of people contributed books and money and sent it all to Audit and Lara. And they handed the books out to city council uh, and said, read the goddamn thing. Read it. And then Jamie called in and was like, I'm the guy who wrote the book.
Yeah.
You know, like this has been going on for decades. And reading his book, when he's talking, he talks about how, you know, they're cleaning them. So they like got two buckets, and they kind of dip you in that bucket and dip you in that bucket and pass you off. So all the dirt and filth coming off of that kid is now going on the next kid, right? And then sleeping in cribs with filthy bedding and no blankets, while cockroaches and rats are running around all over you. Like, I just wish there was a medium where all of this information could get out and people would just go, what the fuck is this? And shut them down. You know, like it blows my mind. It just, when you hear the stories, it just, like, that's what I'm saying. Listening to, sorry, I'm rabbiting, right? Listening to Samuel and Bianca having a conversation. And then I bought Jamie's book, but I also bought the audio version because I wanted to hear him tell me the story. Um, and that was worse than reading it because you've got the voice of the child that is in the book. And I was just like, it was a hard listen, but I had to listen to it, right? Um, but more people need to tell their stories, like they genuinely do, and more people
Mhm.
have to listen, and it has to be on a level, like a government level. You know, I know
Mm.
Lara and Serge managed to get some time with Jamie Raskin, the Congressman Jamie Raskin, uh, Congressman or Senator. Um, but there needs to be more. It needs to be more. Um, there has to be something where people are listening, and they're just like, this has to stop, because I know for a fact, because I've done my digging. Tom Cummings, big Scientology dude, some other guy, and Trish Duggan, big contributors to Donald Trump's government.
Yeah,
They also help fund Pam Bondi and Ron DeSantis and James Whitmire in Florida. Um, Turning Point USA, which is not a very, I'm not going to say. Anyway, Turning Point USA, uh, again, Tom Cummings and the other dude whose name I can never remember, big financial support. John Mappin, who is a very wealthy English Scientologist, he financed the creation of Turning Point UK. So
right.
Scientology are very much involved with that. And then Trump goes and appoints the head of Turning Point USA to his government. So there's Scientology like they're there. They're in everything. They're financing whatever they can to get the
Well,
ear of
they're
people.
trying to be in everything. They're
Yeah,
trying, and they say they're in everything, but
yeah,
they're really not in everything. And there are more and more people that are becoming aware of them, and then going, "We're not interested."
yeah,
So that's the key thing. Because I think if you think they're in everything, it's like, what's the point? It's easy to just kind of go, they're going to stay there, they'll be there, but they won't.
yeah,
They've diminished dramatically from what. That's why Drew and I love going there, because we were there in the early 2000s protesting, so we know what they used to be like, and we know
yeah.
what they're like now, and it's unbelievable the difference. I mean, it's unbelievable, truly.
Well, I
And
saw
this,
I saw the videos of there was like 500 people when Anonymous did the protest going down
right.
L. Ron Hubbard Way.
The
And then,
9,000 around the world. Yeah,
wow. And so they had a protest here in Toronto as well, right?
right.
They had one on Yonge Street across from the org. Um, but and I wish those people would come back out, because there's only two or three of us. But um, I also
But we're
saw.
even talking about before Anonymous. This was even before
Oh,
Anonymous,
okay.
seeing what they were like.
Yeah,
And it's like they are so dramatic. And Anonymous was a huge part of it, but so are the live streamers are huge. Because before live streaming, which was just a couple of years ago that I saw where it really jumped on Scientology,
yeah,
we could not step on L. Ron. Anonymous timed me. They'd say, I just put my foot on L. Ron Hubbard Way. And they'd go, she shut him down in 3 minutes. In Ireland, I went and I just went up to a guy. He had one of those sandwich boards that said, everyone's welcome. And he had
yeah.
his arms like this, like sort of like, and I said, what's up, man? And he said, nothing. And I said, nothing? And he said, well, it's not for everyone. And I said, it's not? When did that come about? And he zoomed inside and Anonymous when she shut him down in under a minute.
Oh my God, that's
So
so funny.
those were the old days. But
Yeah,
now, thanks to the live streaming especially,
yeah,
they
big
they
time.
can't do that kind of shit because it goes right up on the internet and they know it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And especially people like Audit, who's going down to the city council and talking to them. The
yeah,
whole thing has been fantastic. It's been a huge change.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they're 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 trying so hard to shit all over. She's incredible. Like
Who?
audit.
Oh
She's
yeah,
just an incredible human being. Like I
yeah.
know she's been put through the ringer. I know she has.
You know
Um,
she's what?
she's been put through the ringer
Oh,
by them, right? Um, and is the city not clicking in? Like they know she's not a bad human being, but Scientology present you with this evil woman. She's just this evil mess. And like, at what point do you go, get just f off? Like we're sick of your shit. Stop sending us letters. Stop writing to us Jennifer Krauskopf and Kendrick Moxon and you know all the rest of them, Kristen Katana Peterson and Julian Schwartz and all of you guys. Like, just stop. Like, we can FOIA request all of that. We have full access to all the information that you send to the government. We have
right,
just as much as you're doing the FOIA requests, we can FOIA request you, right?
right,
So we can find out exactly what you're saying about us.
right.
And it doesn't look good on you because then we can just publish it. We'll publish it and share it across the world
Sure. Yeah.
and show what horrible people you are. Like when Lara went and was found them filming at 5 o'clock in the morning in LA, and Jennifer Krauskopf tried to get Lara to come and talk to her. She's like, oh, yeah, you can talk to me. But by doing that, she was putting Lara in a situation where she could be arrested for trespass because they had a permit on the street. And Lara was allowed to be on the pavement, but she wasn't allowed to be on the road because they had it permitted for their movie set. And
Oh,
Jennifer Krauskopf, and Lara went, oh, I know what you're doing. And she turned and went back to the thing. But that's what she was
good.
trying to do. She was putting on these airs and graces like she wanted to listen to Lara. Come and talk
Yeah.
to me, girl. Come and talk to me. No, she was trying to get you arrested.
Yeah.
They don't have good intentions. If you're a
No.
critic, they have no good intention towards you.
No.
It just doesn't happen, right? But I think one of my most fun things that we actually had happen was we went out to Cambridge and there was a bunch of us who went out there and we had like honk if Scientology's a cult signs, but we also had all kinds of other signs like David Miscavige, Squirrels Attack, Tom Cruise is a big twinkle toes bum face, just the usual. He pretends he doesn't know there's abuse because he's a famous movie star and he doesn't have
Right.
to.
Right.
But there was three teenage girls walking down on the other side, like it was a 4-lane highway, and it was the other side of the street, and all you heard was the three of them go honk, 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 and it just made me laugh so hard because it was like even teenage children know that you are a big
Oh,
honk,
I know. It's so amazing.
you
That's the
know?
other thing with us sitting there and talking to
Yeah,
the neighbors going by. I'll go, don't get into this. And they all, now they laugh. They used to argue with Drew and I and other people, and they'd say they have a right to their religion. And I'd say it's not a religion, number
it's not
one.
a religion.
And and it doesn't matter anyway, even if you want to be part of their religious activities, which they're a bunch of BS. If you really learned them, you would never do
Hmm.
it. But we're here speaking about the abuses.
Yeah,
And every one of them, I'll say, look, I'm going to explain the abuses and you tell me if you're for them or against them. And I'll start listing them out and I go for or against and they go against. Even police, I've done that.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
police, one time we were in a parking lot in Portland and the guy I was with backed up his truck and just tapped one of their cars. So of course they called the police.
Of
And
course.
they're all out there lined up shoulder to shoulder, like five of them that were staff. And the cop comes up and goes, everything is being recorded. Throw out your keys. And the guy I was with said, no. I'm not throwing out my keys. This was in Washington, D.C. or Washington State. He
Okay.
said, no, I'm not going to. And I thought, I had just seen a lady get beaten up here in LA for nothing. And I thought, you know what? I am not going to go through this. And I opened up my door, and the policeman said, get in that truck. You're not getting out. And they have a process, give me that hand. That's one of their processes. And they're all standing there. And I said, listen to me carefully. I'm a senior, and I am absolutely getting out of this truck. So give me that hand. So he gives me his hand, and I get out, and I said, thank you. And I said, now, these people believe Scientology breaks up families. You have to learn how to say something really quickly. That's one thing I learned over the years. And so I said, Scientology believes in breaking up families, stopping free speech, and medical abuse. If you're for those things, you just said it's all on tape. So I want to hear on tape, are you for those things or not? And he said, well, no, I'm not for those things. And I said, okay, then you're on our side. And that's a good thing. And then everything calmed down from there. It was just like, it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was,
Listen,
it was
they called the police on us in Toronto when they were having their big party. They were having a big barbecue. Everybody got half a piece of corn and a hot
uh-huh,
dog. And so we had a megaphone because they're not a religion in Canada, and
right.
it's okay to use a megaphone when you're protesting here,
Good.
right? So I was singing, "I be mocking up my own reactive mind, and I'm not gonna do it anymore." Doot, doot. Right? So we just kept kind of singing. I'd be like, "There you go. That's a clear cognition. I just saved you $100,000." Right? So we were doing stuff like that, right? And I'd go, L. Ron Hubbard was a pedophile. That's why he started the Sea Org, so he could abuse children in the ocean. Right? We were just like saying all that. Did you know David Miscavige is a criminal? We were saying everything that they not supposed to hear,
Right.
and they were just so like, oh, so they were trying to take all everybody's pictures, and so we don't care. Oh, look at me, I'm on the internet. Um, so they were taking pictures and stuff like that, and so we took their picture and we sent it to somebody to ask who they were. So then we got their names, and we're going, "Hey, Jeff and Dan, how you doing over there?" Right? Taking our pictures, and I made a sign with a shower curtain and paint sticks and a couple of holes, right? And it said on one side it said Scientology believes children are adults in small bodies. Um, child audit, and the other side I think it said child auditing is child abuse. So we held that sign up right outside the org, and there's buses and traffic. It was like a main bus route going by. They retreated inside the building because they didn't want that sign to be seen,
No,
right? Because they can't, and it cost me about $4 to make that sign with some paint
I
sticks and
know.
that shower curtain,
Yeah.
right? Um, but yeah, and the funniest thing was a couple of days later, I was watching a live stream from LA, and I recognized a couple of the people who'd been at the barbecue in Toronto going back to one of those residences. I think it was Ashley or Leah or somebody were filming outside of one of the residences that all the Sea Org people live at. And I recognized a couple of the people getting off the bus going into that building. They had been in Toronto. They'd flown them up here to attend a barbecue to fill, like, to make it look like there was more people. And I was like,
They
that guy was
always
just
do
in
that now.
Toronto. Like,
Huh?
that's so ridiculous. That
I
is so
know.
ridiculous.
I know. That's why when they had the L. Ron Hubbard party with the tents, did you see that? It was
Yep.
like not last week, but the week before. But
Yeah.
his birthday's on the 13th, and then
Yeah.
a couple weeks later, on Saturday, they had these big white tents in LA Org. And I said to Drew, a lot of these people are not going to understand the significance of these tents. But the truth is, Scientology has tons of money. They used to always do their events for L. Ron Hubbard at the Shrine or the
Yeah,
Kodak Center,
yeah,
always, and they were always the best, and tons of money spent, and blah blah blah. And I was part of it, so I know. But now they have these tents in in the LA Org parking lot. And I said, why do they have the tents? And Drew's never been in. So he was sort of like, I don't know, why
yeah.
are they? And I said, because they can't fill either one of those big halls. They
No.
know there's no people that are going to come because
Yeah.
a lot of the public are like, we're done. We're not doing this. They're still part of it because they don't want to lose their friends or their family, but
Right.
they're not really supporting them. Do you see what I mean? And
Yeah.
I've been to
Yeah.
parties where they're like, yeah, we go to course twice a week just so that they don't know that we're out. How's that, Osa?
That's hilarious.
I know.
That's really funny.
I
Yeah.
know.
No, I Alex Barnes Ross got the audio for the from the party, and
Right.
he played it. He played the whole thing
Yeah.
yesterday, and Nora broke it down today. Um,
Good.
so I was listening to it, and um, it was great because she went through and she stopped and she was fact checking. You know how they do, like when a political person talks and they
Right.
say something, they've got instant fact checking. Nora was fact checking the information that David Miscavige and the other people who were talking were trying to make Scientology look like, and make L. Ron Hubbard, he was the bestest ever. Like he was the best sci-fi writer in the whole friggin' world, and he created sci-fi. It's just like, no, he didn't. Like we all know
Right.
he didn't, but
Right.
they don't. So I said to Nora, like, can't they just look that up? And she said, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to read the newspaper. You're not allowed to go on the internet. Like, I can't imagine somebody trying to tell me that I can't do something.
Right.
I just, I wouldn't be a very good
But you have
Scientologist,
to
Tory.
remember, any of us who were like I got in 1969 before you were even a thought with your parents.
I was a thought. I was,
Okay, you were a thought,
I was
but
already
but
in
that's all you
existence.
were. It was a little,
No, no, I was a little, yeah, I was a little.
and the internet wasn't even a thought. Let's just
Yeah,
say that. And so it was like we had no access to any information for years. For the majority of me being in, I would say until 2000 for me, because I
yeah,
was brainwashed. By then, you're already brainwashed. You're not going to look. It's like, no, 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 no. I'm not looking. Right.
yeah,
And so you guys have so much knowledge because of the internet and because
yeah,
of people like me and many many other people before me who
yeah.
put the information on the internet so that you can see it, learn it, know it. So
And thank
then
you
it's
to
like,
your
how could
friend. Yeah,
people buy this stuff? It's so stupid. And it is, but it's like it was a different time. And I mean, I sit with Spanky and we talk about how much fun we had in the 60s and in the 70s, in the late 60s, early 70s. I mean, it was a different thing when Celebrity Center started and all the different musicians and artists came in, and it just was a different thing than it is now. It's just become such a I remember when I escaped out in 2000, Bob Minton sat me down and he said, "How could you be in something like this?" And I said, "Do you think I'm in the thing that you see in Clearwater? You think I was in that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Hell no." And he goes, "Well, what were you in?" And I started telling him about the 70s and what it was like in the old days. And he said,
yeah.
"Oh my God, if I knew this, I probably would have joined Scientology." It
But
was a
that's a
whole different thing.
yeah, but that was the thing. Like back then, there was
Yeah,
this whole era where finding because there was a lot of political turmoil going on,
yeah,
Vietnam and stuff like that, and everybody was fighting against the government and trying
right,
to find something new, right? So
Right.
they were looking for something that was a remedy to all the ails, everything in America,
Right.
basically. And that's what he tapped in on. He was a not very nice man. Let's just say that. Wasn't a very nice man. He didn't do very nice things to people, but he was very good at manipulating the truth. And that's what I picked up on today when Nora was doing the breakdowns. She was stopping
Right.
and starting and replaying. Whereas Alex played the whole thing just in its entirety. She went
Right.
back and she replayed the stuff, and you actually were listening to what they were saying. It was a load of
Right.
shit. It was just
Yeah.
a giant pile of shit. And then more
Right.
shit piled on top of the shit. And then
Right.
at the end of the day, they said nothing. They said Denmark did better than all the other orgs. So does that mean Denmark got 3 people and all the other
Mhm.
orgs got 1 each? You know, it's like they did 10 times. 10 times what? 10 times what? Where's the facts? 10 times what?
So what did Nora say?
No, it was just she just was outlining, like, she was fact checking the information and breaking down what they were talking about, right?
But that's what I
Um,
mean. She's saying 10 times, so 10 times what?
well, no, it was David Miscavige and some other guy who were speaking. They were saying 10 times we did better, 10 times better than that time. And Nora
Oh.
said, but apparently in the 90s was the best times that they ever had. So are you 10 times better than the 90s? Because apparently your numbers are dwindling. So how can you be 10 times better? What she did was she said that she remembered the last event that she went to before she left. And apparently that was the greatest numbers that they ever had, and blah, 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 blah.
They
You
always
know?
say that. So
Yeah.
I
So,
remember telling Kay Connolly, who's the head of PR, I said, look, you can say this every time, but eventually it's going to be like nobody's going to come because you say it every time.
and they applaud. They applaud. Well, somebody sits there and go, I have a bag of shit, and I'm going to take that bag of shit and twirl around in my head, and then I'm going to smack you with it. And they all go, oh!
The 5 people that are there, the rest are staff.
That's crazy. And then you've got the celebrities all in the front row. You've got the Elizabeth Moss, the Michael Peñas, Dr. Berg. I I did the keto diet for a year, and I
Mm.
lost 50 pounds. And in that process, I found Dr. Berg, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And I started digging, and I was like, "Whoa, no, no, thank you. Don't want anything to do with you." Yeah, and it was selling supplements, selling supplements. Buy my wife's recipe. She makes a great non-flour cake.
Yeah, right.
Stick up your ass, Dr. Berg. Don't want your Scientology fucking chocolate cake. Thank you.
Good.
Next. But it's so funny because I never thought, like, as a little kid, finding out that Elvis's wife um, was joining Scientology, that in my almost 60s, I would be involved in trying to educate the public.
And
I
thank
never
goodness
thought
you
in my
are.
life. Thank you,
Thank
Elvis.
goodness.
Thank you, Elvis.
Yeah,
Got my
thank
little
you,
Elvis
Elvis.
clock over there that I got in
Uh-huh.
Finland. Thank you very much, Elvis. Yeah.
You know, Lisa was in it too, and I sat next
Yeah.
to her at a movie, a comedy, and I have never seen a more unhappy person in Scientology in my life, ever. It
Really?
was
That it made
awesome.
me really sad. It made me really sad because I know she was also talented. Like, I know she was a good singer as well. But um again, getting somebody who's broken because their dad is gone, right? Um, but going for the money, and I watched a documentary recently where they were talking about her relationship with Michael Jackson, and they genuinely liked each other. Like they genuinely liked each other, but he was like, I don't want nothing to do with Scientology.
Right.
So if Scientology were trying to, recruit him, he's like, he wasn't he Jehovah's Witness? Wasn't his family Jehovah's Witness anyway?
Yeah, I think they were. I think
Yeah.
they were.
So he was already in a cult. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was used to it.
And his dad was abusive,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think that I believe he was not a good person, but I don't believe it was because he had a I think it was because of his upbringing. I think that's just unfortunate for that person.
Yeah.
Um, I think his situation dictated who he became, and it's
And did
really
Lisa die or not?
Lisa died. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lisa died. She died just before she was going to testify against Jenny
Oh,
Masterson.
wow. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right. I think I
yeah,
was there when she decided not to. I
yeah.
don't remember.
She was it the Grammys or the Oscars or something? No, it was the Oscars,
Mm.
or the Golden Globes because the Elvis movie was up for awards.
Right.
Excuse me. And she was at the award ceremony with Austin Butler and her mom.
Right.
And then within a couple of days, she was dead of a heart issue.
I knew Danny Masterson. I taught him in
Yeah.
6th grade.
Too bad you didn't hit him in the fucking head with the dusters.
I know. I
Racist.
watched them as they, it was definitely awful. The whole
Yeah.
thing was awful.
Well,
Anyway, there's I don't know what
some
happened.
questions.
Are there any questions or comments before we end off? Because it's been 2 hours.
Shut up.
Yeah, it has. It's just,
No,
you're
I was,
great.
I was saying to Kelly, God, I don't even know what I'm gonna say to Tory. God. uh,
Well, I'm happy you came on. It's been very fun. We're gonna have to do oh yeah, she's got starred comments. Okay,
okay,
pardon
let's
me.
do, let's
Okay.
do.
All right, so here this is from
What
Dukes
do
of
you think?
Chug. What did you think of the Squirrel Buster videos? Did they come across as suspicious or authentic?
The
Now,
Squirrel
which
Busters?
Squirrel Busters,
Yeah.
what year are you talking about? Because
Who in particular? Are you talking about Marty Rathbun or Mike
yeah,
Rinder? Because he did it to a bunch of people. They even did it to Paul Haggis as well when he left. They
right.
squirrel busted him too.
Yeah. All right. Well, he'll have to answer that. We'll
Yeah.
go on to the next one, which is from Barbie
Barry Schneider.
Snyder. Okay. I've watched a lot of Jeff's YouTube videos. He was whether he was I
He
can't
has
which
weathered all kinds of COS bullshit,
oh
disconnect.
disconnection. I too wish he and his wife well. We miss him, but no, he's a great therapist. Ah, he'll
Jeff
be a
Jeff
great
is
therapist.
a fantastic, fantastic guy and his beautiful wife too. Mwah
That's so
to them.
great.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
fantastic
Thank you
people.
for saying that. All right, so there you go. And he's in school to be a therapist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and this is from Amy. Um, Mona is on the board of the new Joy Villa Foundation to help people who are leaving Scientology. Well, okay,
Oh, that's
that's
good.
news. I didn't know
You know
that.
what? The more resources they have, the better. I hope her foundation helps them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they're all good. Um,
I see you, Angie Mo.
okay, this is Donna. I heard today that Robert Downs' book is now in English. Miriam has a great interview with him. Oh, Miriam. That's Miriam, right?
Miriam, yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Dam was in Scientology in Denmark. I actually have, hang on, I actually have, he wrote this book.
Oh, okay. What's it called? The
It's called
Defection?
The Defector
Defector.
After
Okay.
20 Years in Scientology. So
Good.
that was his first book. And then his second book is about the hotels and the children.
Ah, okay.
So I'm not sure if it's fully released yet, but I know there is an English version, and he was working on it. Um, and he's done interviews on the media in Denmark. Sam, I don't know if anybody knows the link to the interview, but young Samuel, who is our friend and lovely gentleman, he recently did an interview in Switzerland with the media talking about being a child in Scientology. So
Hmm.
that is a recent thing that happened. So
Okay.
yeah. So
All right.
I have a little pile of books of abused children in science. I've got Gemma's book. I've got Janice Gillum Grady's book. I've got Jamie's book. Now I've got
Yeah,
Robert's book. I'm still in the little collection.
me too. All right.
It's
This is from Irish Mart. Great idea to include medical abuse / neglect of the
the medical abuse that
victims.
you were talking to. Yeah.
The neglect on the victims have victims have voices site. Yeah, I think it'd
Yeah,
be really good.
I think that would be great, Tori. If even if you could, because you mentioned that you know people who were medically abused, including yourself. Like I
I
said,
don't
if we
know
could,
any that are out. I can't say that I know any that are out. I know Liz Gale's son took his own
mm,
life.
yep,
I know, a bunch of like I said, I know 17 kids, but they're all gone.
yep.
And people speaking out, I think I'm the main person with medical abuse.
Let's get your story, pen to
Maybe
paper,
maybe
and
people add to it. You never know.
yeah, and well,
That's
that was the thing. We, I think we was it Nora's channel. We did a live, and when I released the website, and Amber Van Ass was in her chat, and Amber sent me like that day. I got her story to add to the website, and like I said, I reached out to Pamela Nicole Williams, and I said, "Did you know that I have a website that I'm putting the stories of the victims on the website?" Um, and she's like, "No, I didn't even know this existed." And so she gave me her information and gave me a little
good.
bio. So I do need to work on it and update it. And T in Australia was helping me gather some resources for, because I have a resources page and I was trying to create it by state, so that people who come out of the cult have housing. Uh, um, Hi, Jacob. Um, are you going to sing songs with Tori and Lara down on Fountain Avenue again? I love that. Get your guitar. Um, but um, just getting the stories of people is very important. Like it really is.
Very. Yeah, it's very important.
To
And
me,
yeah,
it shows people that they're not alone. If they go to the website and they're like, I don't think I have a story to tell, here's your story. Like,
right.
you know, look at these people. They are
Yeah.
victims.
Yeah. All right. So the Danish policemen are a bit on the young side for me. Now looking for one that has a single dad.
That Irish, when we went to Copenhagen, all the policemen are just beautiful. And Irish was like, I'm getting me a Danish husband.
All right. Thank you, Irish. That's very sweet. She donated 5 memberships. Thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Very
Good for you.
kind. Thank you. And then this is from Donna Davy. I am super proud of Haggis. She is a warrior in her own right. That is very true, and I am too. I am
One
too.
little warrior at a time, right? Xena Warrior Princess was like my favorite show.
Exactly. Exactly.
She
All right,
inspired
and
her,
here's another
her
one
and Wonder Woman.
from even though Haggis farts and snores, I love her from the inside out and consider myself extremely lucky to call her my friend.
I
There you
love
go.
you, Irish. Thank you for outing me for being farty. Thank you. Thank you.
That's a good one. All right, and this is from Angie, the dog mom. All right,
Angie, I hope you're good, honey. I hope you're good.
I came in late to the stream. Forgive me for not knowing, but was Haggis ever in Scientology?
No,
No,
it
she was not, but
it
she's
was
an excellent activist.
it was Elvis. I was into Elvis, and that's how I found out about Scientology. Elvis and the BBC.
You never know what's going to bring somebody in and get them out.
Yeah, yeah. I was young and curious. I was probably about 8 or 9 when I discovered Scientology. Horrible.
How old were you?
About 8 or 9,
Wow.
and I knew that they weren't a good thing. I was a pretty smart little kid.
Yeah. Okay, and then Angie, the dog mom, says, "You ladies are fascinating and so educational. Thank you." It's a
Well,
kind comment.
I think Tory is. I think um, Tory takes things and puts them into perspective. See, everybody gets all bent out of shape. Oh, you made me so mad. Then Tori comes in and she goes, look, just take that, take that, and then look at it. Look at the real thing. Is it
Right.
worth it? And then you're like,
Yeah,
no, it's not. It's actually not.
it's
So
not.
sometimes, you got to listen. You got to pay attention.
Yeah, because you can spend so much energy on the negative,
Yep.
but A, it hurts you, number one.
Yep.
And B, it's a total stat for OSA. And I know for years people would say, "Oh, I don't care about OSA." My dad was a professional football player. He's in the Football Hall of Fame. And he used to say, "Tory, if you're going to play a game," because we were really competitive, and he would say, "You have to know the rules of the game and play by the game. Because if you don't
Hmm.
play by the rules, you're not going to win. That's all there is to it."
Yep.
So saying, "Well, I don't care about OSA," well, they definitely care about us. And every
Hmm.
time we do something, including this conversation, it's a nightmare for them.
Yeah.
If people knew how much of a nightmare it was, they would do way more. Because
That's
I've
it.
been with them when they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, it's Haggisbasher again.
Oh
She's on."
no, not her.
We didn't get rid of her, because they may have orders, get rid of her, get her off the net. And it's
Yeah.
like she's not only not on the net, now she's talking to Magoo. This is awful.
Well, it's funny because Irish calling me out for being farty. Um, I have the privilege of actually being really good friends with Irish and Miriam and Jojo and T and those guys, and it's nice to have a sounding board because sometimes in life, not even to do with Scientology, in life, I have loads of friends here in Canada. Um, but even just to have a little chit chat with these guys and something might trigger you or might upset you or whatever, or you might have a reaction to something. And it's great to have all these different perspectives from all these different people.
Sure,
Because then,
sure.
and that's what friends are for. I've always said to my friends, if you see that I'm doing something shitty, or if you see, like, say I was in a relationship and somebody was being shitty to me, tell me.
Right.
Don't think that I'm going to be mad at you for telling me, because I am telling you to tell me. Like, if
Right.
I don't see it, I want you to convince me to see it.
Yeah.
Because I've had too many friends who've been in relationships very much like Scientology, where it's like the brainwashing and everything else, and then they just remove themselves from their family and friends, and then they have nothing but an
Right.
abusive partner, right? And then suddenly you just like, I can't stand by and watch that happen to them, and you try and get back into their life, and then they realize they're in an abusive relationship, and then a divorce happens and they find new life, right?
Right.
So
Hopefully.
hopefully, but
Hopefully.
so it's the same with Scientology, really. I mean, you can't. I don't think. I think Lara said it, or some. I know Lara has said something to this effect, and I think Nora has even said something to this effect. That there are people in it that you'll never change their mind. They're going to be in it for the rest of their lives, right? But if there's one or two that you can maybe change things for them, then that is a good thing, right?
That's what got me
Um,
talking. I just thought if I can just change one person's life, whether they get out or they
yeah,
never join. But either way, it's a monumental thing to do.
yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
I
Like the
went out to dinner the other night with my friend, and it was a young person. And remember, I've done a TikTok video for young people, especially Latinas, because there's a ton of them here in LA.
yeah,
And this lady was a beautiful young Latina, right? And I said, look, just so you know, I was in a cult for 30 years and they are after people like you. And she goes like this, oh my God, you're the lady with the purple hair on TikTok.
that's great.
And she
Yes,
goes
I
to get
am.
my sister. She
Pay
goes,
attention to
wait,
me.
wait till you see this. The girl from TikTok is here. And she brought her sister over and I gave them the
Stop
whole
it.
talk.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, that happened to Jessica Palmadessa too. Her and Audit
Oh,
went
yeah.
down to one of the halls that Scientology has somewhere
Right,
in LA, and they had advertised for modeling.
right,
Modeling. Bring your
right,
children here for modeling lessons.
right,
And a young girl recognized Jessica Palmadessa from YouTube or TikTok or something like that. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're the thing." And Jessica's like, "Get out of here! Like, get out of here! This is a
right,
bad situation. This is
right,
Scientology. They're not giving you acting lessons or modeling lessons. They're trying to recruit you into their cult. Get out of
right,
here!"
right.
Yeah,
I ran into a girl that had done that. She joined the Sea Org. They had lied and said she was going to be a dancer. And they sent her over. They bought Chick Corea's old studio because
right.
he,
Yeah,
I think he passed away even, right?
he did. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
But anyway, they bought the studio and they sent her there thinking she was going to be a dancer. And she ended up talking to me. And I said, no, this is just so you know that, you're in this. You can walk out the door tonight. It isn't
Yeah,
like you have to route out or all the shit that they say. You don't have to. They'll say you have to, but that doesn't mean that's why I have my expression, the way out is the nearest door.
yeah. And I
Whenever you
love
say,
that. Just
yeah,
leave. Just leave.
just
Get out
leave.
the
Just
door.
walk out the door. That's it. And
Go
that's
on now,
that.
go. Walk
Yeah.
out the door.
Yeah.
Just turn around now. Yeah, get out. Get out.
So there you go. All
I
right.
think
Well, thank you. What?
we should do karaoke on. I wish I could get down to LA. I think you should do karaoke on the sidewalk, and I think you should all just have a seat right outside with signs, and
They
and
had a
and just
karaoke
sing.
night Friday night. They had
Did they?
Scientology did. Yeah.
Oh my God. What
But
were they
everybody
singing?
ended up getting locked in because of Drew carrying two signs against Scientology.
Yeah.
Like
I think we should
unbelievable.
we should sing JoJo's anti-Scientology songs.
Yeah.
Ah. That'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be fun to do karaoke. I could do it. We'd have to have songs that I know, but Jojo would have to send them to me. Well, anyway, thank you for coming on. We'll have to
Thank
do a part
you.
2 because you've got tons of stuff to say. So
Great to see you, Lupita.
yeah, it's great to see all of you. Thank you, everybody who came
Thank
on.
you, Kelly.
Thank
Angie
you,
Mo, I wish
Kelly.
you well. I hope you're okay, my love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening with her?
She had a wee accident, and I just hope she's doing okay. It's nice to see you here.
Good. Well, that's a good start.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you for coming on. It was
Thank you
really
for
fun to
having
meet
me.
you.
Thank you, Kelly, very much for arranging this. And
Haggisbasher,
it was a
great Scott.
it was a pleasure to talk to you again, Tory.
I know, really, it was. It was a pleasure to talk to you. You're fantastic, and thank you for all you're doing. I really appreciate it.
You
I
know,
mean, I
like I
really
said,
do.
one little thing at a time. And
Yeah.
please support Audit and Lara in LA, and let's try and support Mark Bunker and in his goal to become part of the council, and Save the Garden in Clearwater with Brooks Gibbs and all his crew. And you know, it's just little bits at a time, right? I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. It's an awful place, but we can't forget um, that this doesn't stop happening just because everything else is
Right,
going on.
right.
But I wish you all good health, and thank you very much, Tori. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming on. We appreciate you. All right.
And
Well, I'm gonna
I'm
say,
gonna go finish my sparkly bubbles.
there you go.
Cheers.
Sparkle away. Cheers. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. All right. We're gonna end